What makes a game difficult? Well, most competitive games are simple enough for anyone to be able to pick up and play. If you're good, you rank up. If you're bad, you rank down. FPS games are the most popular game genre to play because of its simplicity and nature. You put your cursor on the enemy, and you click. They're usually pretty chill to play with the boys as a casual player, but there's a competitive scene for those who take its simplicity and create a skill gap. Although FPS games are the most popular, they look like a sleep fest in comparison to the hardest competitive game ever. The game I'm talking about is StarCraft. StarCraft is an RTS, or real-time strategy game, made by Blizzard. A lot of you might have seen it on the launcher but never tried it. Why? Because RTS games are known to be complicated, and if you think they're just boring and slow, this one is not. StarCraft is one of the fastest games ever, with the top players having an average of 300 actions per minute. That's an average of 5 actions per second. This clip of Faker playing League of Legends went viral because of his speed. StarCraft is that, but you control all units on the field. Now do that for 10 to 30 minutes without stopping. This is how much skill it takes to be a top tier StarCraft player. StarCraft 1 and 2 are very similar, yet very different. You start a game by choosing one of 3 races: Terran, the human race; Zerg, the alien race; or finally the Protoss, the psionic race. Once the game begins, you start with workers which are used for different purposes. The main one is to gather resources. They're also the ones who will build your structures for unit production, upgrades, supply, and static defense. Every race has their own unique units, abilities, and mechanics.
Second one, that Nexus is running low on HP as well. The Disruptor shows up, and Mara with the hunt pickup is going to save these units, kill the Disruptor, and I actually think he's very close to killing this Nexus as well. If he would go for it with these 2 Marauders in the tank, he might be able to get it.
Yeah, he might just be saying, well, eventually I'm going to get that.
Each units have strengths and counters. These little guys are known as bio units. These big boys are known as mech units. But in this game, bigger doesn't always mean better. The way this game works, some units can only attack ground units, some can only attack air units. Some can do both but does more damage to ground or air. Some do more damage to mech. Some do more damage to bio, etc. Whatever it is, you usually want to try countering your opponent, which is why pros use what is called build orders. A build order is a tight setup where you use your resources as soon as you have enough to spend it, so you can get units out on the map as fast as possible. Usually pros will have an army composition of different unit types with different strengths and abilities to fight in battle. StarCraft is often compared to chess, where you set up a strategy, but if you only use your pawns, you're most likely gonna lose, especially versus players of higher caliber. StarCraft is known for its fast gameplay. Speed is really important in order to macro and micro efficiently. Macro is your effectiveness at constantly producing and using your resources in order to max out as fast as possible. Micro is the control of units during battle. For example, splitting units during an attack so you take as less splash damage as possible. Control groups work differently in StarCraft 1 and 2. In StarCraft 1, you can only have a maximum of 12 units or one building per control group. In StarCraft 2, you can have an unlimited amount of units and or buildings per control group. You can also cycle through your units and buildings in that control group using tab. This is mostly what differentiates StarCraft 1 and 2 speed. Apart from StarCraft 1's bad pathing feature. Even though StarCraft 2 looks easier overall, both games require just as much speed. StarCraft 2 begins the game with 12 workers, while StarCraft 1 begins with 4. More workers means faster resources, which means faster fights. Both games are just as hard and as strategic as each other. You really can't compare the two of them. It would be like comparing World of Warcraft to Black Desert Online. Even though StarCraft 1 came out in 1998, the AASL, now rebranded to SSL in 2024, still hosts seasonal tournaments with about $60,000 prize pools. There are a lot of other tournaments and championships associated with StarCraft 1 with some players having made over $300,000 over the years. StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty came out in 2010 with a Terran campaign, with its first expansion, Heart of the Swarm, adding a Zerg campaign, and finally Legacy of the Void adding the Protoss campaign. The game changed a lot with the addition of these expansions and is still being patched to this day, with the last huge patch with new maps, buffs, nerfs, new abilities coming out as I was making this video. These huge patch notes usually happen at the end of the competitive season. A French player, Clem, one of the best Terran players ever, won versus Earl, an absolute monster of a Zerg player. He took home $400,000 from a $1 million prize pool in August 2024. For a 14-year-old game, it still holds up pretty strong, especially for a Blizzard game. If you ever feel like challenging yourself or believe you have the skill to make it to the top, it's still not too late to make money off this game. StarCraft is the hardest game to pick up, learn, and actually be good at. Because even if you end up knowing every single detail and mechanic, you might still be too slow.
He just killed more probes, but Hero was already all in anyways. The Warp Prism is still barely alive! It actually saves another Colossus and another Colossus!
This is absolutely insane! That is the most disgusting micro I have ever seen.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I already started working on the next one, so it will most likely drop next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.